Well, hello, folks. I just got back from working out, so you have to excuse my funky ass hairdo and my ripped clothes and see my tattoos and all that good stuff. So, anyway, where were we? I think we just got to Houston, Texas. Yeah, I moved to Houston. I met that girl on Match, and I decided to get the hell out of South Carolina and moved to Houston. I figured, well, my dad lived here for 15 years, so I've been here before. Why not give it a shot? Something different, something new, get away from the family, do things on my own, get my life back together my way. So, I've always been a stubborn ass, doing things my way, so might as well do it. So, when I moved to Alvin, Texas, the home of Nolan Ryan. For all you that don't know who Nolan Ryan is, he was a great pitcher for the California Angels, then the Houston Astros, and later on he moved to Texas Rangers. But he's like the man in Alvin. Everybody knows who Nolan Ryan is. So, and I've always been an Astros fan since the '80s when my dad first moved to Texas, and I first went to the Astrodome when I was like 10 years old. And I thought that was the coolest thing ever. So I've followed the Astros ever since. So yeah, and plus my Cowboys were only 4 hours north of me in Dallas. So hey, it was all good. So we moved to Houston, and I lived with Erica and her son for shit. Oh, let's see, from October 2000, end of October 2002 to January of 2010. So I was there for a little over 7 years. But when I was there, I got her to go to college because she never went to college. I mean, she graduated from high school, but didn't go any further. So I got her to college, and she was really smart. She ended up graduating with the second highest degree. I think it was magna cum laude or something. I was happy with getting a 3.5, so hey, fantastic for me, you know what I'm saying? And so I got my associate degree at ACC, Alvin Community College. And then I started working at the YMCA in 2005. And I worked there for a while. And actually became a personal trainer through the Y. And then actually I went and got my National Personal Trainer Certificate through ACE, the American Council on Exercise. So I became a nationally certified personal trainer there. I think that was in 2010 maybe? Something like that. But I did that. But the biggest thing was when I was working at the Y, I had met a man. This Dr. Raju Hazari. He was from India, but he was a chemical engineer. And I met at the Y because he had MS and was wheelchair bound. So I had helped him almost every day he came in. And we became good friends. I shared my story with him and he shared his story with me. Dr. Hazari had a family, he had 2 sons, and he lived close to the Y. So, through our friendship, he knew what I was trying to do, trying to be a physical therapy assistant. So he actually had me start personally training him 3 days a week. So I would go to his house and do a little training regimen for 2 hours, 3 days a week. Well, that built into every day. Now I became like his personal assistant trainers. So, it was kind of cool. I made a little extra income on the side, working for Raj. But, yeah, he was super smart. The man was bound and determined to get out of his wheelchair and do what I had done. So I agreed to help him as much as I possibly could. And we got very close. I mean, when I first met him, he was wheelchair bound and he couldn't do much. His multiple sclerosis was pretty much taking over his body. So, but by the end, I had got him to the point where he could get out of his chair by himself, you know, crawl on the floor, whatever, go to wherever he needed to, and he could stand up with assistance. But, that was gigantic considering he was stuck in a wheelchair when I met him. But unfortunately, we'll talk about it later. But through Raj, first I told him about my ambition to be a physical therapist. Well, he swayed me from that because it would take too long going to school because I would have to go a little slower than everyone else. But he told me about the physical therapy assistant program. That was at a nearby college at San Jacinto College, which was just north of the Y. So he told me I need to apply there. So I looked into it, took the classes I needed to take, and applied for their PTA program. Well, I made the first round of cuts, but I didn't make the second round of cuts. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? Well, my A&P teacher is anatomy and physiology, which is a tough course. She knew about my story and everything. She told me that when I didn't make it, that I should apply at Houston Community College because a lot of her students who had previously not made it either applied there, got accepted, and loved it. So I did that. I took a year off from school and then applied for HCC the next summer, and lo and behold, I got accepted. So I went to their program, and I was trying to be a physical therapy assistant, but let's just say there's a lot of stuff, but let's just say it didn't work out. So while I was working at the Y, going to school, I had met a lady who had come in for personal training. Her name was Lisa. She was 12 years older than I was. I was 35 at the time. She was 47. But we became really, really good friends. Hey, what the heck? She was single, I was single, so we started doing a little dating. But, it's all good. So, what can I say? and, but through her, I made the HCC program. I started going to it. And, well, what the heck? Beginning of the semester, I tell him, I met with the director, and I was like, look, I've gone back to school with a brain injury, and I've been successful when I take no more than 3 classes. When I take more than that, I get overloaded and I can't handle it. It's just too much for me. So she said, well, you're going to have to take a full load. And I was like, oh, this is a rehab program. You'd think you'd be a little more understanding. No, that's what you're going to have to do. Okay. So, I did it. I took 5 classes, which was really like 6, because anatomy and physiology had lecture and lab, which was kind of like 2 classes. So then another 4 classes. And they had a special catch. You had to keep your GPA, all your grades, above a 75%. There was no D's, there was pretty much, there weren't any low C's, if you know what I mean, either. So you had to keep over 75 to pass. Everything else was a failure. So I'm taking this program, and I'm doing well, and I'm keeping all my averages above the 75. Then in November, my A&P average finally falls below 75. And they keep stressing that I need to drop 2 classes and just concentrate on 3. Then I'll be on a 3-year program. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me this in the fucking beginning? To save me a lot of time and effort and hassle. If you'd just told me about the program, I was just taking 3 courses and been doing a lot better. Well, we can't tell you about it till they start struggling, they say. Oh, whatever, man. You just wanted my money. So whatever. Ended up, my final grade in anatomy and physiology was 74.36. But they didn't care. F. Oh God. And I get another F in this medical terminology course, which was basically a memorization course. And my memory was one of the things that was greatly affected in my brain injury, so didn't do well in that course either. So I took a semester off, then retook the medical terminology course again in the summer. This time, Lisa was helping me study, and I was doing a hell of a lot better. But when we had, I think you had 5 classes. You had your first class 1 week, then the next week you have a class, you have tests on 4 chapters. And the next week after that you have tests on the next 4 chapters. And the next week you have a test on your next 4 chapters. And your last class you have your final, and that would be it. And they had this rule: if you failed any test, as long as you had the passing average in the class, you'd have to retake that test to show competency. So okay, first class, passed 2, failed 2. You only get below 75. Next week, passed 3, failed 1. Next week, I aced them all. Blew them out of the water. I had like a really high average in the class. I had a 94 average in the class. So I take the final, ace it, so my average is even higher. Then I go retake the 3 tests out of the 10, or the 12, 14, 3, 12. And retake the 3 tests I have to take after the final. So I passed the first 2, failed the last one by 1 question. They said, okay, that's your 3rd F, you're out of the program. I'm like, whatever, man. So, I'm done with that. So my friend Lisa tells me about a physical therapy technician program that I can take. So I take that, and it's only 9 months long. That, of course, is a piece of cake for me after going to physical therapy assistant school. So, I get all A's and 1B. And the 1B was because I couldn't go to 1 class because I had to work. And they counted attendance when they were formally in your grade, so I got a B. So I had all A's and 1B. No big deal. Then after that, I got my first job at school. I'm able to quit at the Y. And I started working at Baywind Village Senior Care Rehab Center. And I'm a physical therapy technician. So I'm pretty much, it's an old folks home, but they're trying to rehab these people. And it was kind of cool. I made a lot of friends there. The patients loved me. The little old ladies and stuff. I'd walk down the hall and they'd give me candy and all kinds of crap. So it was a fun time. But then, I was there for 2 years. At the end of 2 years, the therapy company loses their contract. And the new therapy company that comes in doesn't have techs, so I'm out of a job. But while I was there, I started dating my future wife. October 11th, 2013, we had our very first date. Alexandra Lacey. I'll never forget. Her lucky number was 10. That was the month, October. My lucky number's always been 11. October 11th. Boom. Bang. So it was awesome. So we had our first date, October 11th. It was at this El Tempio, was Mexican restaurant up in Houston. We had our first date there, and the sparks flew, and everything was great from there on. Well, like I said, then December hits, and I'm out of work. So I get a job. There's Alexandra's living. She had just moved back home she had an awesome life too. Her life was just like mine. She graduated from UT, University of Texas, with like almost a 3.9 or 3.8. She was really smart. But she ended up living in New York for 2 years, living in Spain. Well, then she went and lived in Spain, lived and worked in Spain. She was fluent in Spanish. So she went to marketing. She had a marketing degree. So she went to advertising and stuff. But she lived on Wall Street, was dating this guy who was like a millionaire, who lived in the Hamptons and stuff. But then he ended up dying on her. So she came back home to Houston. And that's when we met. But she had a lot of trauma in her life too. Her father died when she was graduating college, and she had a lot of friends pass on her. So we had a lot of trauma in our lives. So she had a lot of emotional trauma, where I had the physical trauma. So we kind of meshed perfectly. But like I said, so we met, and then I lost my job, and then I started working at a Central Market, which is a little high-end grocery store in the center of Houston. And they made me work the fish department. I was like, it's a job, whatever. I didn't mind because it was right close to where Alexandra lived, and it's money. But while I was working there, I kept looking for other therapy jobs. And then while I was working there, I actually decided my lease was up at my apartment. So I decided to move up into Houston because I had started working. When I was working at Baywood Village, I had also applied at Texas Children's Hospital. And I got hired there, PRN, which meant weekends. So I worked like Saturdays there after working 5 days at Baywood Village. So I was working 6 days a week, buddy. And I also, on top of that, I had a little personal training gig too on the side, where I was, personal training people here and there. So I was working technically 3 jobs at once. But, do what you gotta do to survive. So, but things are going real good. I'm working at the grocery store. I'm still working at Texas Children's on the weekends, and I'm working at my personal training job. And I'm dating Alexandra, and we're doing great. And then summer comes, my brother Matthew gets married. So I tell Alexandra, why don't you come to the wedding with me? So she comes to the wedding. And then made it back to Houston. And we're in my apartment talking, and she's like, I really love your family. I really loved everyone. They were so nice to me. And I'm like, well, if you love everyone so much, why don't you join us? And she said, well, why don't you ask me? So I get down on one knee, and I asked her to marry me, and she said yes, and away we went. So then I'm still working at the grocery store, working at TCH, Texas Children, and doing all that stuff. And then finally, MD Anderson calls me in January of 2000 and, I think it was 2014. Yeah, 2014. And so I get a job at MD Anderson Cancer Center in Houston. And luckily, MD Anderson and Texas Children were on the same street. So they were right there in the Texas Medical Center. So I'd work at MD Anderson during the week. And then on Saturday, I'd just go down the street like 1,000 feet and go to Texas Children and go to my other job. So it was kind of cool. And I did that for almost 2 years. And to April 9th, 2016, Alexandra and I get married. So I'm married now. I'm working at TCH. I'm working at MD Anderson full time. I have 2 jobs. I'm doing my personal training too. So I'm working 3 jobs. And, I'm being married and everything. I'm thinking everything is fantastic. I've beat the odds. I have done everything. I've climbed the mountain. I've beat everything. Beat my injury. Beat everything. Everything the doctor said I couldn't do, I had beat. I had walked again. I drove again. I went back to school. I got married. I got off disability. Oh yeah, that was a big thing. It was 2012 when I first started working at Baywood Village. That was when I was able to call disability and say, hello, I don't need you anymore. You can take your poverty money and go away. And I got off of disability in 2012. And I've been free and clear ever since. So, and the amount of money they were giving you every month was like a poverty level anyway, so I had to have a part-time job to survive. I don't know how they expect anyone to live on that, but whatever. So yeah, like I said, everything is fantastic. It's going great. I'm working. Alexandra's she's got her real estate license. She's doing that. I'm doing my thing. Everything's going fantastic. We're trying to, we tried to have a child, but nothing ever took. So, but then I found out why, because in the end of, let me see, my birthday was June 29th. So it's 2017 now. We've been married for 15 months. Her older brother finally moved back from California, moved back home. He had met someone, and they decided to get married. But their wedding was in Banff, Canada. So, June 30th, we have to fly to Banff. It's a Friday. So, we get to Banff, and they have the rehearsal dinner. Everything's going good. No, but I lose. I'll tell you all this stuff next clip. But we'll leave it off there. Like I said, right now I'm married. I'm happy. I have 2 jobs. Everything's great. Got off disability. Woohoo! Yeah, me. I beat the odds. So I'll talk to you next time. See ya.